Welcome to Academy Live, episode 9. We have David here today.
Yes, we do. And we do have Anders here today.
So true, so
yes,
true.
Yes.
Today's topic will be, was planned to be umbrellas. We're going to talk about all the different types of umbrellas and why you should use different sizes or different models, etc.
And what to watch out for.
Correct, the pitfalls and some cool party tricks, hopefully. But during this week, or since last Wednesday, there's been a kind of not a pink elephant in the room that we want to address, and it is the A1 firmware upgrade that has gone out, which is called firmware version B5. And with that, they have fixed, as always, improved the software, but they also fixed one bug that the symbol, the battery indicator, doesn't show full when you pop in a fully charged battery. So that is now corrected with that firmware. But then also there has been a lot of discussions around the battery capacity of the A1. And that is actually a problem that we noticed, that there are a few units where we have in the assembly of the product, there's one pin that hits probably the wrong hole, and therefore it makes the zoom end motor on the head to actually continuously go and drain the battery.
But how many units have this problem?
Well, so it is so far it's less than 1%, so it's very, very few units out there. But we also do have customers that we have. I don't know if Patrick is with us, because it should be probably in the middle of the night. We have one customer in Australia who has had maximum unlock. I mean, he got 2 units, and now we have a third one sent in, but that's going to be double and triple checked. But he got 2 units that were both faulty, so that's really unfortunate, but now we hope that we can fix it. But what happens is that this little pin starts the zoom engine, which drains the battery, and you don't get good capacity of it, of the battery. And one way to check if your unit is faulty is to turn on the A1 and leave it standby. Don't flash it or don't do anything, just leave it as is on the table and leave it for about 15-20 minutes. And then you put your hand on it, and if it feels just normal like it was before, then you have no issues with it. But if it feels warm to the touch, so that you feel it feels a lot warmer, you won't burn yourself, but you feel that it's warm around the head, then you actually have that problem and you need to send it into service. And what they do is they don't replace it, they actually do change that, the faulty board, they replace that one, and then you get a unit that's working properly. And this is very, very unfortunate. We know that. That's really sad when things like this happen. But that does happen when you sell a huge number of units of a product like the A1, and even if the percentage is low, and we always aim for 0% faults on them as always, but it does happen. Even other premium products do get into problems sometimes, because there are so many different factors that can impact complex technology like that. But then we actually also did a test, because I wanted to test just for my own sake, since I'm also a photographer and you are, and we wanted to say, okay, so how good is the battery really? And we kind of went outside of the Profoto protocol, and we didn't go into all the reports and the lab from the light lab reports. We thought, let's do it ourselves. So let's do a test for ourselves. So we took 9 random units, my own, your own, and some from that we used here in the studio. So mixture between Canon and Nikon units from all kinds of different batches, and most of these are over 1 year old. Since we've been testing this since about May last year, we started to get the first units and test them before the launch in September. So these products have gone warm for at least a year. They've been used in different video productions. We have used them ourselves, and we have had workshops here in the studio, etc. And so they've been used a lot. So that has to be taken into consideration as well. So they've been heavily worked.
And what did we do? What did you do with the...
Well, why don't you grab the camera?
I will grab
and
the camera.
Let's go over and take a look at it. So we'll be right back. We'll just do overs. Here you see kind of how the studio looks like with David with the dongle. Hello, David. Hello. And then we have a little table here. So let's switch over to the David cam.
David cam. Here we have 9 A1s in a row.
9 A1s, random units, and we put them at different power levels. So we have power level 2.
2, and I'm just turning this down.
I do the same thing.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Exactly. So, and then we rigged up a camera. We used this kind of travel friendly tripod. This is heavy like crazy, but this is one of David's favorites. David likes things that are heavy and sturdy, and I like things that are light and kind of wobbly, because I like to be able to take them with me. But anyway, this time I used this one. It's a cool thing.
The best.
And then we just took a regular camera, and the settings that we had are standard settings, ISO 100, shutter speed at 125, and the aperture is at 22. And then I started to fire, and I literally spent time and just standing like this and then going boom.
Until the batteries were drained out, right?
Exactly. So then I was standing, and then also if we put, I always had the strongest one. Let's see, the one that had the strongest power, I had that on beep, so I can hear when it has charged up. Beep, and then I hit again, beep, and then I went like this.
And I presume that this took a while, right?
Yes, because you can take a huge series of these, but if you do this over and over again.
Let's see what. So this is the image.
Yes, and let's see if we can do this. Let's zoom in a little bit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so after a while, when you do this continuously, the 10, 9, and 8, they will be warm. And what the Profoto A1 does is doesn't turn off, but it has slightly longer period between the recharges to give it some time to cool off. So you go from 1.2 to maybe 2, 3 seconds, etc., in order for not to destroy anything in the flash. So there is a kind of a safety. But then as soon as number 10 went out, I popped it out over like this, and then I continued with 9, 8, 7, and then I continuously all the way until I only had number 2 left. And with that, I can tell exactly how many flashes did I get from power level 10, power level 9, 8, 7, etc. And and with the animation master like David, of course, we took all the folder with all the pictures, and we popped them in a folder. I sent them over to David, and quickly yeah, David is there. And then he did an animation that we're going to share with you right now.
I will just pop this camera back, remove all the white lines on the sides. This is, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So then the animation will look a little something like this. So here we have, you have the A1s here. Since I exposed my camera with aperture 22, you can't see them, but they are there if you would pull up the exposure. but you put a little ring in there just to show kind of where the location is. So here we have flash with the power level 10, 9, 8, 7, etc. And you will see them flash, and then so we basically took all the images and put them all together and sped it up a little bit, because otherwise it would take too long.
And then we also counted the number of flashes, because
Yes.
that was the main reason to see how many flashes can each flash do before the battery was drained out.
Exactly. So here comes the animation. Or maybe we pause. So here you can see we are at power level 10. We got 337 flashes, which is 13 flashes below the 300 and up to 350 that is promised. But with those 13, it's you have to consider that these units have been used for about 1 year, and you used quite a lot as well. And then at power level 9, we got 750. 8 was 1090. And then we continue, 1570. Power level 6 gave us 2,261. And then 5 gave us 3,738. Power level 4, we got 5,261. And then at power level 3 was 6,351. And finally at power level 2, we got 8,788 flashes.
8,788 flashes. I always think about Mount Everest, that is 8,878 meters high.
Oh,
so
close.
it's kind of close.
So then we also put this in a graph to make it kind of easy.
There's a really huge difference just between number 10 and number 9. Of course, there is, but I mean 700 flashes is a lot of flashes.
It is, yeah. And these are tested by hand with random units in the lab with mixture of units from all kinds of batches. So I'm sure if we would do this over and over again, the curve would even out, because now we have some anomalies, which you will have with batteries and electrical units. There will be some minor anomalies.
And if you do it many times, I think your camera will be kind of sad. I mean, this is 8,700 exposures, so your mirror. Did you have the mirror up, or was it?
No. Mirror had to work. I did it the full-blown way.
Yeah,
absolutely. We eat cameras here. So here you see the graph on the different power levels on the x-axis with power level 10, 9, 8, 7, etc., and the number of flashes that you can get per unit. And as you can see that the flash that was set on power level 3, that one has a little bump down. It should probably be somewhere around 6,500 maybe. Could be that battery has gone more often than the others, or there's something else with that unit. So, but if you do this several times, you would even out the curve. But this is an actual test we did.
And how would you say that this test concludes to what is promised on the, in the manual? Like, I think the A1 is supposed to do 350 flashes on power level 10. So for me, this looks like it's holding up what it should.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what we were kind of curious on testing and see how is it only marketing or is it really working?
Yeah.
So and since we are both, not completely independent photographers, but at least we're honest photographers, and we don't want to cheat you guys, and that's why we got all the managers on vacation in Sweden. So that's why we kind of decided to do
when
this
the managers are on vacation, the rats dance on the table.
And the rats, that'd be us.
But have you thought that maybe they can actually watch this while on vacation? So maybe they will run in here and...
Ooh.
No.
Problem. No. No, I mean, because I know that they that's not a problem, because we do not want to claim something that is not true. Then we would have to do some changes. So anyway, there is black and white, the test. I have a folder with 8,788 pictures.
JPEG or RAW?
The JPEG, yeah, we did go in JPEG, yeah. Didn't need RAW for those. So if anyone wants to go through them and check the metadata, it's all there. You see exactly what time they were taken, and it's all, there's no cheating here. So that's that on the battery test. And again, put the unit on standby for 15-20 minutes. If it gets warm on the head when you grab it, then you need to have the board replaced. You need to send it into service.
Now, when you did all these 8,700 images, did you get a good feeling of the recycle time? I saw there was a question about the recycle time. Is there anything that you can say about the recycle time? I mean,
yes,
you have a lot
absolutely.
of experience there.
Yeah, and if we go back to the chart, and recycling time up here, up at power level 10, it is 1.2 seconds when it's at its fastest. And then it does slow down to maybe 2-3 seconds. So that was the feeling I had when I passed I think it was about 100 flashes. Then you could clearly see that, okay, now it's getting really warm and it wants to cool down, so it takes a little bit longer. And the further down I moved down in power, I started to get really up to speed. Even if they were continuously going, as the 10, 9, and 8 were dropping off, the other ones kept on going during that test. So around 6, power level 6, then I could go on automatic and just hold the trigger and just hold it down and just go pound, 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 pound. And from 6 and below, I just kept on firing, and also through 4, 3, and 2, I was just going max speed on the camera and just going. Brrr, just.
That's kind of insane for the power level 2, that it could hold up doing 8,000 images without getting too warm or anything. So that's kind of cool. So you would say that from power level 6 or about there, that's my experience too, that from 7 I can go really crazy. So power level 6, 7, around there, the recharging time is...
Yeah, so for example, if I'm going to shoot with the 1DX Mark II, which is the fastest camera with the mirror on it, if I want to go up to like 14, 16 frames per second, then I ensure that my settings, my shutter speed, my aperture, and my ISO is set in a way that I can stay in the power somewhere between 5 and 7. Then it's fast. Then the A1 is fast enough to keep up with the 1DX. But if I go up to 8, 9, or 10, then it's not fast enough.
We got a question from Justin. I think that you might have a good answer there. He asks, why can't we see the power on the transmitter? Like if you have flash 1 on 3.2, why not you see 3.2 on the transmitter and such? And he had a next question, which I really would like to see. Why can't you zoom the A1 from the transmitter? That would be kind of cool.
Yeah,
it's just software. Maybe that's possible to...
That's true, but the problem is that we would have to create new transmitters.
Yeah,
because physically it does not have the technology to zoom unless you reprogram, some combination that if you hit this one and this one, then send out these signals, and then probably you could do it. But I would expect that you would need to see a new version of air remotes before the zoom function would go. And that's also with the power levels, why we can't see them is that the way the technology goes is that it sends out information from the transmitter to the flash, but there's no information coming back. Mm-hmm. And that's why we can't see that.
Yeah, you need two-way communication too.
Exactly. So hardware-wise, the transmitters, they don't have that receiver to receive the information back from the flash and ask the question, what level are you at? And then also, if you would just transmit that or broadcast that to all the flashes, and if you have, let's say, 2 or 3 flashes on group A,
how would
which one do you take the information from, and so forth? So today's air remotes would not be able to cope with that. So you would have to reconstruct it. And even within group A, you would need to see and identify each and every flash. that this is flash A, you can call it David, and then flash B, or the second flash in group A would be called Anders, and then the third one would be called
David 2.
David 2. Very creative names.
Yes.
And so you could see the each and every flash level. So that question has come up many times, and we have submitted it into the engineers, so they have it on their list to solve one day. And so now they're looking at and working on finding out a solution for that, because I would like to have that as well, and especially when I work with this guy, because he has a tendency to always put flashes in the most inconvenient places, as high up as possible, or
as high up
on
as
the
possible.
other side of the street, or
outside of, yes, I always tend to maximize stuff, to put things as far away as possible. But I would say that I don't know if that is a tip that really would solve this problem, but I showed it before with the A1. When you put it up, when you have it on a umbrella tilt head, that you can have the flash with the numbers downwards, so you can easily see the numbers. That is of course not the same as transmitting it to a transmitter, but still you can see the numbers. I always tend to put lights in positions where you find it kind of tricky to reach them. Yes.
Yeah, and then you always ask, oh, what's the setting on this one?
Yeah.
And then you have to go to find the ladders. But it's always fun. You make great pictures. We did some questions on the Sony one as well, and it's still same as before. It will come during this year, before the end of 2018. But I have no other specific dates. I haven't heard anything more on that.
I saw something from, do you know anything about that?
Oh, Bolivian market. That's a good question. So Bolivia and most of South America we don't have a subsidiary there. So it's not like in the US or in the Nordics or Germany. We have fully owned subsidiaries of Profoto, but in South America we have distributers. So I would have to check out who is the distributor for products in that market. So I will get back to you in the comments afterwards, but I need to talk to some people first and get an understanding of who is the distributor in that continent, the South American continent, and also what their plans are on for Bolivia as a market. So I will come back. So just follow this, and I'll get back to you. Unless I PM you directly, I can do that as well. So we'll get there. So that was it on the battery and the test, and we'll make sure that the animation is available somewhere. I'll give it to some handy guys. We have Marcus and Andreas over here that are part of the customer service team, and they will for sure post it on the right forums, etc. And I will also put it on I just made a page on my blog. I can put it on there as well, and we'll so you can see it over and over again, because we love that movie. It's a cool one. But if we don't have any further questions here, we got a lot of hellos from Belgium, Boston. We got India here, Bolivia, yes. And we have Hannah is here as well, and we have people in
Chile.
In Chile, and very comfortable places here in Sweden as well on vacation. So excellent. So hello everybody. Let's continue then and talk about umbrellas.
Umbrellas.
Why
the topic,
we are here.
Yes, the topic of today, umbrellas. We're going to look further deeper into all kinds of different kinds of umbrellas, as you can put it.
Many kinds of kinds there.
Yes, many kinds of many kinds of the kinds of umbrellas. Exactly.
So umbrellas are, as a light modifier, very, very versatile modifier.
Very versatile and very easy to take with you.
Yeah, it's very portable.
And I think that especially amongst wedding photographers and such, it's really easy to bring with you, and it can create a really beautiful light. So that's why we put this into a special episode just to talk about umbrellas.
Yes. And we did get a question on the battery. Is there a way to extend the battery life on the TTL Air Remote? And it's just buying better batteries. That's the only way. You buy the coolest, most expensive AAA batteries. That's the only way you can do extend the batteries on that one.
But the TTL Air Remote, it turns off itself, right, after a while, if you don't use it?
Yeah, exactly. So it has it goes into standby mode. So it does try to do some energy saving there as well. But if you're not happy with what you have today, buy better or more expensive batteries. Then you'll get there. So umbrellas anyway. Pros are definitely that it's easy to carry with you. It's very versatile, and there are many different kinds, and that's and it's price worthy. I mean, it doesn't cost as much as a softbox or a Fresnel lens, etc. So it's quite often a cool modifier to start with.
I think exactly. I think that is what most people actually start with.
Yeah.
Is the first modifier, and I mean the umbrella can actually be really advanced. It's simple, but it can be really. You can do really nice stuff with it if you know your way around it. Do you people use umbrellas? Please,
yes,
in the comments.
Åsa here said she just bought a second A1 and a deep silver S, but I should have taken a white, I think. Or say that silver is also good. Of course, silver is also good, and hopefully before we are done here, you will understand why silver is good and what you would use silver for. I think you did a good purchase, so don't sell it, keep it. So because I think actually for the A1 silver is kind of good. But if we take one step back, it is a bit like Åsa here asked this question. Was very good timing. Thank you Åsa for that, by the way. I'll send you the money later. Is that it is not that easy to pick which umbrella you should buy.
Yeah, I remember back in the days, I was like, whoa, there's so many kinds of umbrellas. Which one should I pick? I think we have like 18 different kinds of umbrellas. What kind should I pick? And to answer that, I think you should know a little bit more about how they work and what they are supposed to do with the light to be able to pick the right one for you. So we are going to look into that.
Yes, and the question is then if we should pop over to the table where we have the umbrellas and take a look at it and kind of give you a couple of pointers on how to pick the right ones. See if we have any questions. So no, umbrellas are the first modifiers ever used. Yeah, exactly. So, but so why don't I take the camera this time and you do the umbrella action?
Yeah.
Since I got to play with the A1s over there.
I will do the umbrella action. That sounds like a plan.
So I'll take these.
Sounds like a plane.
Whoa.
So.
What happened here?
Whoa, it's crazy.
This one.
Yeah, it's kind of in the wrong direction, but it's getting there.
Oh, there we go.
Hello. Am I there?
You are almost there. You are.
Almost there. So here you can see a table full of umbrellas. Not all the 18 ones, because we didn't have all 18 different kinds of umbrellas, but at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the most common different sizes and shapes and materials and such.
And first of all, there are shallow and deep ones, right?
Yes, these two.
If I'm going to take a good angle over here, just do a...
So here we have an umbrella shallow, and an umbrella shallow, and umbrella deep. So shallow and deep, that is the first decision to make. That is the first big difference between all these kinds of umbrellas. Every umbrella is in deep and in shallow.
Cool.
Yeah.
So if we take a look at take a shallow one, for example.
Let's take a shallow one. So the umbrella shallow, it is called shallow because the shape of it, the depth of it, this depth is considered to be shallow compared to the deep one, which is a much more deeper
So
umbrella.
if I look at it from the side,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So this distance is kind of angled out. So if you imagine the light coming out here, it's really, I do like this, it's really wide.
And I look at if you stand on the side, so we can see your arms are there. We go. Look at
Yes.
that. Yes.
This is a shallow umbrella. The light is spreading out really wide like this. So you will have light almost like 180 degrees, almost like that.
Cool.
Maybe 169 or something like that.
So that's a medium shallow. So why don't we compare that if you keep it open and open up a medium deep?
Yes, I will do that. I see a silver one. So
it doesn't matter what the fabric. We'll get into the fabrics, but
Yeah.
just to see the shape.
So this is the umbrella deep.
Aha.
Can I do like this? Do you see?
Or you one on each.
Yeah, I can do like that.
Yeah.
I can do like this. Do you see
And
the
if you
difference?
tilt this one,
like that.
yeah, exactly, and then the other one the same, the front
Okay.
towards you a little bit more, and then like that.
I don't see what I'm doing. Like that. Okay, like that.
There we go. So
go.
now we see that this one, the shallow one, is flatter, and then the deep one
Is deeper.
is deeper. So
Yeah.
it's more like a big bowl.
Yeah.
And how would you show that with your arms?
Yeah, let's do the arm thing. Okay, so the deep one, I put this down. Since the deep one has more walls on the side, the light will be blocked there and even bounced more straight forward. So the light will go more straight on like this.
So it kind of gathers all the light and focuses straight
Exactly,
forward.
gathers all the light and focus it. So a shallow umbrella
Mhm.
and a deep umbrella. So you get a
Cool.
more focused light with a deep umbrella.
Cool.
And yeah, and the effects of a more focused light. What is that? Why would you choose one before the other?
That's the question that
that is the
everybody is
question.
having.
Yes. So I would say like this.
If you would shoot, for example, a group of people.
Exactly. So let's take this one again. Okay, the shallow one, since the light is spreading more wide like this, you will get a bigger light image. The light will be in a bigger place. So if you have like a group of people, a big group of people, this one is better because you will cover a bigger area. Okay? So the silver one,
Or the deep one.
sorry, the deep one covers a smaller area of light. So this one, I will show you later what happens with the amount of light, because things happens with the amount of light, especially with silver and white.
So, for example, if you have a smaller studio or you're in a room where you have a lot of white walls or reflecting walls, and you want to have a higher contrast in the shadows.
Yes.
So basically, I don't want a lot of light to hit the walls and create new light sources. Which one would I pick then?
Then you should pick the one with the smallest light image. In other words, this one,
The deep one.
the deep one that is having the light that doesn't light so much on the walls
Yeah.
and the floor and the ceiling. With a small studio, high contrast, choose a deep one.
Cool.
As simple as that. And if you want a really low contrast, really bright shadows, then this one is the preferred one, since this one will light up the walls more.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so then you get lighter shadows, less contrast, so that's perfect. And we
Yes.
also mentioned that if you want a really nice soft light, you could have a wide one and put it way back and just have the walls, the ceilings, the walls and the floors become the light, so then you can even almost cover the umbrella with the big flag and
Yeah.
just have the alternative light
Yes.
sources.
I
from
think
the
I will
roof.
show that later when we come up here.
Ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
I think I want to mention one more thing that I think that people are maybe thinking out there in the audience.
Are you singing in the rain?
Yes, singing great. When you collect all the beams, so it will become a more narrow light beam, then you will have more photons hitting you. So a deep one will create a bit more intense, more light. It will be more brighter. It will be brighter than a shallow one, since you have more light hitting the subject. And we will show you a bit more about that later on.
Yeah.
But that is quite important to know.
So if you have an A1, a deep one is pretty good to have. Like
Yeah.
also had bought a deep one for A1 because you have less watt seconds on that one. So it's probably a good one to have a deep umbrella.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we will also talk about the white and silver, of course. What is the difference between white and silver?
And translucent.
And translucent,
Because
exactly.
these are the three different types of materials that you have in each and every model. So you have shallow or deep, and then you have different sizes, right? So you have small, medium, large, and extra large.
Small, medium, large, and extra large.
And why would you pick the different sizes?
I want to show you something, actually, before I will tell you why I use different sizes. A big difference between the shallow and the deep one, and that is actually the construction of it. I love the deep one because the construction of it is really sturdy. And that is, for me, kind of important since I'm doing this like 10,000 times. So for me, I really love the construction of the deep ones. So, but that was a parenthesis.
Yeah.
Okay, so why would I choose different sizes?
Small, medium, large, extra
Exactly.
large. I mean, if you pop up an extra large, because that's kind of the next step in deciding what to buy. So the one on the far left.
Yeah, but it's translucent. But okay.
Yeah, but it's a size that we're kind of.
Yeah. So why is there different sizes? So this is an extra large.
I need to back a little bit, I think.
Yeah, this is huge. Oh! Here we go.
There
This
we
is
go.
an extra large one. The size of the light source depicts the size of the shadow edges. You will get a softer light from a bigger light source. So if you really want a soft light, then if you have a big light source and go really, really close like this, then you will have a super duper 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 mega soft light. And if you want it harsher, you can just back this up. It will get smaller and you will get a harsher light.
Yeah.
Or you can just bring your smaller light source. This will create harder shadows, but still, if you go close, it will go bigger and you will get soft light too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the size is about how soft you want the light. And you do not always want super duper soft light. Sometimes you want it a bit more dramatic.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want it super duper soft, like when you're shooting babies, they want to be super smooth. Or really old ladies, they want to be super smooth.
Or old guys like me.
Or old guys like you, of course, you want to be super smooth.
Yeah.
But one thing you also can do is when you have your light here, and if you put your light into the umbrella, so it only lights up a small part of the umbrella, then you have a small light source, hence getting sharper shadows.
Harder light, yeah.
Yeah. So the further in you put your light, the harder light you will get.
So if I don't completely misunderstand, as we now will go in and talk about the different fabrics, we have silver, white and translucent. I think you have a package of photons, right?
Yes, I brought a packet of photons with me today.
Not any photons, right?
Not any photons.
Let's Profoto photons.
Yes, let's take a look into the Profoto photons. I will just clean the table up here.
Yeah. And here we have an official package of
Profoto photons. Maybe some of you think that this is spaghetti. And actually you are quite right, but so here we have photons. And I would like to talk to you about light in the way that photons, in the way of a photon, like this. If you take one photon, one ray of light. I'm so fast. You are so slow with the camera.
The worst cameraman ever.
Okay, are you with me here?
I'm with you.
Yes, cool. So do you see this spaghetti? This is one ray of light. It starts here and it goes like this and continues forever. And it never loses energy on the way. So one ray of light is equally bright all the way.
So it's just as much spaghetti here as it is over there.
Yes, it's not less spaghetti here than there. The same with light. So one ray of light is equally bright all the way until it hits something.
Like something black.
Something black or red or green or a bird or if a light of ray hits a big cow, it will be absorbed in the cow's skin and disappear or turn into heat or something. So the light itself don't lose its energy over distance.
Cool.
So how come light gets darker when you put your light source further away?
I'm puzzled. Tell me.
Yeah. So that is why I brought all these
Photons.
These photons of Barilla photons.
Or any brand of photons.
Yeah, let's try it like this. Maybe I can.
Whoops. We're losing this one.
Okay, so I spread, you see them?
Yes.
I spread them out like this. So here we have a light source. I take my snooze dosa.
A1.
This is like a A1.
Oh, you have an A1 there?
Oh, yeah, but it can't lie here.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, A1
Nice.
is actually kind of good. But okay, let's start with this. So here we have a light source spreading out the rays of light like this. So all the light rays, each and every one is equally bright all the way until it hits something.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have like a white umbrella, can we move this just?
It will, well, you're not going to draw anything, right?
I'm not going to draw, no.
So then we do this, we shut it down.
So I can move my light a bit further up like this. If you have a white umbrella, the light is spread out like this, really, really wide. And if you have a person here, now I think that maybe 15 rays of light hits the person, right?
Yeah.
So if we have a silver umbrella, what silver does, and a deep one too, deep and silver do this. It brings the light more together like this. So more rays of light will hit the person. Hence, he will get brighter. It's still the same amount of, the total amount of light is the same, but more photons will hit the person and go brighter. So if you have like a laser like this, all the rays are really, really straight, then all the rays will hit the person. And actually, no matter how far away he is, it will be the
same amount of spaghetti hitting.
Exactly. So when you have a light that is spread like this, the distance, he will most definitely get more bright as when he is close to the light source, and the further away he will go darker. But if you have a light that is really, really spread out like this, he will be really dark here, only 6 spaghettis hit him, but here 500 hits him. So the spread of the light impacts the light depth.
Okay,
Also.
so if you would say, let's then start with a silver umbrella, how would you say that the silver would spread out the spaghettis?
Yeah, I would say that this is about a
silver deep, for example.
A silver deep would be something like this.
And now we switch that one to a white one.
Yeah, I remove all the
people and the light sources.
Yeah, this is a white one. Spreads out even more. So you will get a bigger light image, a big pattern, a big stamp of light.
Mm-hmm.
And you will get fewer photons hit the person, so it will be darker.
Yeah.
But you will also get a bigger light stamp.
And translucent then?
A translucent, did we show that? Yes, we did with the big one. A translucent one actually it really, really spreads out 180 degrees at first. I'm trying to do this like a super nice. Okay, so in this direction, it spreads evenly out in like, in all directions like that. But actually, since the umbrella also bounces back light, you will have the same thing going on backwards. So you will have
a spaghetti mess.
Yes.
And people, if you try to do this at home, don't boil your spaghetti first.
Yeah. So I would say that a translucent umbrella does like this. It spreads light everywhere. A bit less backwards, a bit just a tad, but evenly like this. And so this is really good if you want to have, all the walls in a room or in a studio or wherever you are will be new light sources that will lift your shadows. So all your shadows will be really bright. But that depends on how close the walls are. Like in a small room or small studio, you will get really bright shadows if you use translucent umbrellas.
So if I have that and I want to have the light going, I have a translucent umbrella, but I don't want to have light going backwards because I have a red wall
Yeah.
in my studio. So I want to eliminate the ones going back. Is there any accessories that you could use or any way you could kill that?
Yes, if you have something that stops the lights from going back, there is an accessory. I don't know the name. It's like back panel. Back panel.
Let's take a look at that.
Let's take a look at the back panel to stop the light from going 360 degrees to only 180 degrees. Was it this one or?
That's exactly. We have a translucent here, and now I was not very kind to David. I gave him the XL back panel and the XL umbrella.
Yeah, so let's try to pop this on. I suppose the party trick still works here.
The party trick always works, but it is the hardest when you try it with an extra large
This
umbrella.
is the first time I put this one on this one, but
so
let's see.
you put the umbrella into the back panel.
Yeah, and make sure it's downwards like this.
Yeah.
And
then you open up the umbrella inside the back panel.
I love that you comment what I'm doing.
Oh, come on.
Come
on, you can do it.
I have to be a bit further down so it can open up.
Yeah.
I have to have 2 hands here, Anders.
You have 2 hands.
Oh, I do. Haven't practiced.
And okay, it's coming. And boom!
Da, da, da.
There we go. Awesome. Big applause for David.
Thank you. So here we have the diffusion.
Not the diffusion.
Sorry, the translucent umbrella. The light will be spread 180 degrees, but stopped backwards.
Cool. So my red wall will not get any light, and therefore I will not get any red.
Exactly. You control the contrast better because you do not have to take care of everything going on on the back from the umbrella.
That's a big mother.
Yeah, that's a big one. So
so that's cool. And that one is, if you just open up a little bit on the side here, so we can see, is it white inside?
You mean like this?
Yeah, on the back. Yeah, okay. So we see the fabric there. So any light that go backwards kind of bounces forward. So you will be able to use those spaghettis as well.
Yeah, so you maximize the spaghettis in this direction exactly by having this white inner side. Cool. This is heavy.
This is heavy. But this is the biggest solution.
Yeah.
And you have the same back panel for the large, the medium, and the small ones as well.
Even the small ones haven't? Oh, cool. Yeah. That's really nice. So that is for what will happen if you put a back panel on. Now this is a translucent one, but
let's take a white one. So do you have a? We don't have any back panels for those. We only.
But it would be kind of fun to put a back panel on this one, because then it will be totally black and very unusable.
Exactly. But if you would have something like that, you still can put diffusion on it.
Yes. Like if we look at the silver one. From straight on, you will have kind of a big light source.
Yeah.
But when you are just angle it a bit like this, like you do when you are feathering the light. Let's look at that over here. And with this one, I thought that we should do like this. Okay, here we have a white shadow.
Because white one will spread light everywhere, right?
Yeah. What is your? You have to tell me what's your point of what is
because you have a medium one of those.
Yes, that's one you want to put on this one. What's your? You have. I think that you have.
Well, the deep. I think. Are you getting to the point where you see the light source?
Yeah.
You don't see it with the deep one as much as you do with the shallow one.
Yes, but then we need a silver one to really prove the point.
I don't have a silver one.
Okay, so then we do this. Yeah. It's just nice, but we still need to do the. Yes. So. If you ever had heard talk about something called when feathering the light, when you're feathering the light. With soft boxes, you often do that. You twist the light source like this to use the shadow edge to get a more, you can use the edge of the soft box or the umbrella to make a shadow on the face or something like that. Really, really nice effect. So let's try to do this with this B1. And I will show you a really important pitfall that is commonly happening when using umbrellas. I turn this on.
Morning light, yeah.
Yep.
See white light, yeah, fills up the umbrella.
Yeah, and here we have this light doll, Mr. Ken. He gets a beautiful light here. oh, so soft, so nice, woohoo. But now we want to do the feathering trick.
And I'll go and be the Ken's eyes.
Yes, you see the big light source,
Yes.
really soft light. But and
His bald head.
if I twist this like this, this is the feathering effect. Then we can put the shadow edge from the light source.
But if I stand right here, I can actually see, I see the edge of the umbrella there, but I also see the flash.
yes, and this is a really important thing to consider. When you see the flash, this is a small light source
Yes.
that will hit our subject.
And
a
small light
sources creates harsh and thin, narrow shadow edges, hard lights. So now you will have hard lights from the edge. And if you have like a pro head with a really bulging, extruding light,
flash bulb,
then you will have, this is really quickly, this is happening really quickly. So now you don't see the light source, right?
Yeah.
This
No.
will be beautiful. And you can use the shadow edge here.
yeah.
But as soon as you go in like this now,
Yeah, exactly.
and this one can also happen when you are shooting like big groups and such.
Yes, exactly. So the people at the end of the group might actually be able to see the light source, and then instead of using the height of this one, you only get this little thingy there.
Yes.
So is there a way to prevent this? What would you do then?
Yes, actually there is. You can bring in a person who holding the hand like that, but that is kind of
Inconvenient?
inconvenient. So then we have the diffuser. A diffuser that you put on here to make this into a softbox.
And now we get to see David do the party trick again.
The part trick again. I do like this and I put this in from the top or like that. And I just open the umbrella. And ta-da! So now the flash head will be stuffed into this thing and we will have one even light source.
So is the light softer now that you put this one on?
When you have a white umbrella, this light will not be softer because the size of the light source is the same. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I know that this is a really big misconception out there, that they think that the more you put on here, the light will be softer. But the softness is only about the size of the light source. But the contrast, how dark the shadow is, that is controlled by the environment, right?
Yeah.
Like the walls, the floor, the ceiling. And this one will spread the light a bit more upwards and downwards and to the sides, which will hit the walls and perhaps get even softer, even brighter shadows.
Yeah, so you will lighten up the shadows and therefore lower contrast, and that people are perceiving that as a soft light,
Yes.
softer light.
That is from where the misconception comes.
Yeah.
But if you're standing on like a football field or out in the open where you don't have any walls or ceilings, then you won't get any, softer light because the size of the light source is the same.
So if I stand with the same sized silver umbrella and the white umbrella out on a football field, same distance, same angle, everything, the contrast will be the same and the edges of the shadow will be the same.
As long as you can brighten up the silver umbrella evenly.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Then it will be exactly the same. You will get more power from a silver one since it doesn't spread all the spaghettis like this. It spreads the spaghettis more focused, so you will have more power, but the size of the shadow edge will be exactly the same.
Yeah.
And if you put a diffusion on a silver umbrella or a white umbrella, then you will have exactly the same light.
Yeah.
It will be no difference.
difference.
No, none whatsoever.
So maybe that's something for Åsa, who had bought a silver umbrella deep small, maybe to buy a diffusion, because then all of a sudden she has a very big softbox.
And
More or less,
and it's really versatile because
Yeah.
when you do like this, now you can really start to feather the light without having the problem with seeing the small light source like that. And the A1 is the same problem with the A1, but with the A1 actually you can put on the bounce card
Yes.
and to block
Yeah.
the light source. But with this Åsa, I would say that you have a really wide variety. Thank you of light.
And it's a small package to bring. Do you have it in? It's not a big pack, right? So it's
exactly.
very small.
I actually think that you could stuff that into the
umbrella as well. Yeah.
Probably.
It's frowned upon from Profoto's side, probably.
Of course.
No,
so
of course
exactly. So the diffuser, and actually, do you know what's her name? Annie Leibovitz.
Yeah.
She uses this a lot. Umbrella with the diffusion. And it's since people have seen that, it's really popular. Everybody has this just because she does. But now you know why you have this and what will happen.
So with that one, instead of having all the light focused forward, it will spread more evenly, 180 degrees almost to the side, hitting walls and ceiling and floors, etc., which becomes new light sources, and it will brighten up the shadows, i.e. less contrast, but the shadow edges are still the same size.
Do you know this, Anders?
Yes. Finally! First time!
Yes, exactly. That's the way to go. I think that people might wonder, okay, how much light will this steal?
Ooh, but that's, yeah.
I haven't tried it, but I saw this number here. It says 1.5. Would I dare to say that this will steal 1.5 stops of light?
Yes. We have not tested that, but maybe that's for something for the next.
Yeah. If anyone of you have tested this, please write in the comments, because that's quite interesting.
Yeah, but it should be 1.5 f-stop.
Yeah. Actually, I should mention, like with the A1, I have this bracket for A1s and speed lights and other that kind of lights, that you can have 2 and even 4 speed lights in one of this. So then you really have a lot of power, and it's really easy. A lot of spaghetti, and it's really easy to bring with you. So that about that.
Let's go and sit down and check if we have any questions.
Yes.
If you start scrolling, I'll set up the camera.
I sit myself down and maybe take a spaghetti to chew on.
Or maybe not. It's going to be crunchy sound in the microphone. So David is not allowed to speak now or eat any more spaghettis.
Okay. In this case, it would be better to use. Okay, Felix Kunze shows feathering technique. It says feathering is making the light softer. Actually, what he's talking about is what I call the light image. He's talking about the softness when feathering. He's talking about the light image, because you have a bright part and a dark part, and the feathered part between, that can be, it's soft. But the shadows you will get when putting yourself or a subject or a model in that field will have sharp shadow edges. In other words, hard light. So I wouldn't say that you get a soft light when feathering, but you will actually get harder light. The effect is harder, but the part of the gradient looks soft. So it depends on how you explain it. But the shadows you will get from a feathered light is actually harder, since the light source becomes more narrow in the horizontal direction. And now I almost poked my eye with this, so I put it away.
We had a question here on the B1 and using the dome. Yeah, this is a tricky one. I know there are a lot of people that really like the dome. I'm not a big fan of the dome.
I am.
And you are. I know there are differences, but I've been trying to measure it. But in theory, yes, you would get a little bit help from the dome, since when the spaghettis hit the dome, it spreads out widely, and it actually can help you fill out a little bit.
That is Anders' explanation. Yeah. My explanation is that it will not spread the light as much as from like what's the word?
Extruding.
Like to put on speed lights, the white
omnibounce.
The omnibounce. If you compare the dome with the omnibounce, that is two totally completely different things.
Oh, but we're talking about the B one, because you could buy the glass dome.
Sorry, I was totally into A1.
Yeah, no, we moved on. we're at B1.
Sorry, I remove what I said, but still, it's true. It's true. The dome on the A1 doesn't spread the light.
And we did cover that in episode 2 or 3.
Yes.
So, and that's if you haven't seen that, go and see it.
I have to eat more spaghetti.
No,
So
eating spaghetti.
Let's go back to the B1 with the dome. Now, okay, and the question was?
If it helps to fill out, and yes, it does a little bit, but not as much as you would think it does, but it does help a little bit.
Yeah, and actually I would say that the problem with the dome is that the B1 will become much more fragile, and the B1, for me at least, it's something you bring along a lot, and suddenly it gets really fragile, like a Pro head and such. Of course it works, it will spread out, as you said, more, but it also creates problems that you have to be aware of, like when you feather the light, you will see the dome directly, so you will get a hard light instead of a soft light and such. But if you are aware of it, perfect. But it's a little bit more advanced, I would say, and it spreads out the light some. Yeah. Have you measured it or?
Yes, I did, but that was quite a while. I don't have the numbers, so I need to redo that to capture numbers. I love Mark Brodsky. Thank you so much for having humor. He prefers his photons cooked with garlic and butter. Yes. That is hilarious. I love that. Good one there. I think we covered all the questions. We did the dome one. So what to buy from Håkan? Yeah, well, that's a good question. What do you want to do? Do you want to shoot the group, or do you want to shoot less people than a group? Do you want to have a lot of light hitting, a wide pattern, or do you want it more controlled? I know, Håkan, you have an A1. I would probably invest in something with silver, because that will help you get a little bit more punch out of that light, especially when you're out on the beaches and shooting the beautiful nature up in the park called Gotland.
And do remember to use the wide angle lens on the A1.
Oh, exactly. Yeah,
that
put the wide lens on
to spread out the light, not the dome, the wide angle lens. So I would say, like, a standard thing to buy. What to buy? I would say that the standard, something that you can be really versatile with, I would say is the medium, a medium, to be safe, a medium white umbrella.
Yeah.
That would be, that you can do most of the stuff with it.
Medium, white, deep.
Medium, white, deep. Yeah, because, so that's what I would say would be number one. If you are like shooting a lot of different stuff, that kind of always works. And the bigger you go, the softer the light will be, but also more specialized, more like in a special situation. And if you have the small umbrellas, really small ones, that is better when you are really, you want to pack stuff
really small.
Really
You're going to travel and so forth. So that's absolutely I would go, because even with those, if you're close enough, you have a big light source, move it back and you have a harder one and so forth.
Yeah.
And we got a question here. How will a head with the integrated reflector like B1 fill a huge softbox when light is directional? Well, the cool thing with most softboxes from most brands is that they normally have 2 layers of diffusion. So when you have the 70 degree reflector coming out into the softbox, it hits a first inner layer of diffusion, and that helps to spread the spaghettis, really filling out the whole softbox. So that's the main purpose of the inner baffle inside that. So that really helps. So if you take that away, you will see a difference, because then you will have less light on the edges.
Yeah, so first I will we do this with spaghettis. So first the B1 hits the inner baffle like this, and the inner baffle...
Now you have your face use it with black background.
Okay, I thought it was...
Yeah,
okay.
There you go.
So first level, it hits the baffle here, and the baffle, it's spread out the lights 360 degrees.
Yeah, exactly.
So at 180 degrees forward, and then even more spaghettis going backwards again, will go back like this. So the inner baffle helps to really spread out the light over the front diffusion panel.
Yeah, so that's why you're pretty safe, even with a B1, D1, D2, or B2. on a big softbox.
Yes, but of course put the light as far back as possible, so it really has a chance to spread as much light as possible.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that kind of sums up all the things we had to say on umbrellas. If you have any further questions, do pop them into the comments. We do follow them and answer the questions afterwards that if they pop up.
Yeah.
So that's if we haven't answered, then we will actually respond to you on the comments, or if you want to, you can PM us directly, and we'll respond to them. And actually, sad news, next week is summer break. There will not be, since no live during next week, since I will be in transit towards Botswana. But I'm hoping that I will find a spot in Botswana on the 8th of August, which is the Wednesday after the next one. So on the 8th of August, I'll try to connect from Botswana and tell you a little bit about some of the adventures happening down there. So no Academy Live next week, but we will be back the week after that, and then mid-August somewhere we'll be back. And we have so many cool things coming up this fall. I mean, we're going down to Photokina, and we'll be reporting from there.
Yeah, live from Photokina.
Yeah, we'll be both on stage
and on the floor.
And on the floor, we'll be running around and hunting down cool things that not only in the Profoto area, we'll be checking out the whole Photokina as well. So with that, I think, do you have anything that we have feel that we missed something? I think we covered, we did talk about the pitfalls. We have all the different versions, all the 18 different ones, so I know it's going to be difficult sometimes. But I think if you look at this episode again and think about the comments that David mentioned on the shallow, deep, different sizes and the different materials, you will actually be able to find the right ones.
I know one thing I would like to address, and that is the contrast. I would say that again. I will say it again because it's really important that when you buy an umbrella in a store, I think that the seller might say that, oh, with this translucent one you will get really soft light, but do remember that light, as you perceive it, it consists of the size of the shadows, the size of the shadow edge, and the contrast. That is two totally different things, and the contrast is controlled by the environment, okay?
Yeah.
The walls. And if you're outside, you will have the biggest possible contrast. It doesn't matter what kind of umbrella you have. If you have a silver umbrella, the silver umbrella, if you light it up so it's evenly lit, very important, then you will have the same contrast as with a white umbrella.
Yeah.
So the contrast doesn't impact, it is the environment that controls the contrast, not your light source.
Yeah.
That
But with the silver one, you will not hit the environment, so you will get a higher contrast.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's still it is still the environment that controls the contrast.
Yeah.
If you don't hit the environment, then you won't have the lower contrast. So that is one. If you separate the shadows, the softness of the shadows and the contrast, then you can imagine how the different umbrellas will look like. If you have a white one and walls, then you will have a lower contrast. If you have a silver one that won't light up the walls as much, you will have a harder, a deeper shadow, hence a larger contrast.
And before we say goodbye, I really want to thank Mark again. Not only are you funny with good comments, but I see your last comment here is that last week we spoke about taking advantage of hotspots, etc. And you actually took that out and used it this week, and then now you're looking forward to experimenting with umbrellas. And that's exactly what we want you guys to do. You know, take a look at these, get ideas, try things, find your tricks, and it's by doing, that's how you learn, right?
Yeah,
so
that's how you learn. And use this to ask questions, because we love questions. There is no stupid questions.
Yeah, no.
There's light. You can discuss light so much.
I really try to ask some stupid questions sometimes, but
yeah, you can.
If even I fail with stupid questions, then
you know, on my light courses, I actually have like a prize for the most stupid question to make people ask questions, stupid questions. But there is no stupid questions.
Yeah, no,
the most simple.
So true.
The most simple theory about light can be really super duper complicated, and
but we'll simplify it for them.
We simplify it. That is why we are
with
here.
With spaghetti or with snus.
Yes.
We'll take any means to make it understandable.
Yeah.
So anyway, you guys, you get a break from us now, 2 weeks at least, and then it will be my ugly face. It might be bad connection from there out in the bush, but I'm gonna do some really cool stuff down there, and I would love to show some pictures. Hopefully we have some pictures, and hopefully I got all my hands and arms in still there, because I am gonna work with some dangerous animals, and I'm not so.
Well, you know, a lion isn't dangerous when it does like that. It's totally harmless.
Yeah, that's true.
It's when they do like this.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have your arm in there when they're closing the gaps.
Yeah. So, anywho.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks, live from Botswana, hopefully. If I find one little spot somewhere there with good Wi-Fi, I will be on at 5 o'clock CET on Wednesday. So with that, I would say that David has a sticky forehead.
Yeah,
and
it's really hot in Sweden.
Yeah, I don't. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.